show.
You know what you should have done going into this segment is you should have done something with orange in it.
No. I don't cater to the audience or to our guests. This is my show. Who the hell do you think this is? The Rick Beardsley show?
Let's for the next 10 minutes it is. Let's bring on our good friend Rick Beardsley, 4-time All-American, 2-time national champ, to preview the Final Four college lacrosse weekend. Rick, always great to chat with you. How are you today?
Good, fellas. I mean, Paul, it's extremely disappointing to hear that prior. How you don't cater to those that are helping your show get ratings right now. And we all know that this segment, if I were go back to and revert to the Rick Beardsley that I normally am, where 3 people like me for the rest of my life, there'd be lots of hits on this. But I have to be good because I'm with you guys now. But I come out the John Cougar Mellencamp. I mean, Paulie, can you just do me a favor? We're on VMix. Can you give me 10 push-ups right now?
No.
You probably can't.
No. Do you want me to?
No, that's the last thing I need.
It's me dying on air.
All right, Rick. So, fair or unfair, I think we all looked at last week against Princeton as a must-win for this program. To if they lose it, it's, well, they got to the quarterfinals, but they lost again. Final Four drought continues. They win it, and now it's, all right, they're back. They're back in Memorial Day weekend. They're back in the mix with a shot to win the title. You being a proud alum, and I'm sure you've talked to a lot of other alums over the course of the week. What did that win, and what does the fact that Syracuse lacrosse is back on Memorial Day weekend, what does it mean to you guys?
Well, I mean, it's great to get the program back on track. I think Gary and those kids really have battled and handled the pressure well for the years that they've had to handle it. And, obviously, you are correct. There has been lots of alumni. There's been chats flying like crazy, and it's actually been great for us. They're honoring, I think, the 2000 national championship team today this weekend as well. I think one great thing it's brought back is all of us are talking. We're sending pictures through, and that's kind of meshed us back together. I mean, Reggie Thorpe, one of our teammates, plays in a Final Four, in 3 hours from now. So, we were sending texts to him, wishing him good luck and ready to rock. So, it's really have been a great thing. I think it's brought the program back. There's a lot of people seem to be heading to Foxborough, and it's kudos to Gary and the crew for getting back to Memorial Day weekend, which is where we belong.
You look at that Princeton game and, just a roller coaster ride, right? With falling behind and then pulling ahead. It looked like they had it salted away, and then Princeton makes a big comeback and takes the lead, and then Syracuse has to respond. And, and then Jimmy McCool comes up with a couple of big saves late after he gave up 18 goals. I want to ask you about Joey Spallina, because there is a lot of pressure on this young man in particular. And, in the biggest spot, his biggest collegiate game he's ever played, he goes out and scores 4 goals, 4 assists. What did you make of his performance, and I guess the leadership that he's shown along the way during this run?
Well, we all know I love Joseph, and I am often out to grab wings with him at Crossroads out there in East Syracuse a lot, him and Billy Dwan and his 2 brothers as well. I mean, it was a great interview where he basically said, I can't dodge, I can't do anything apparently, but look where we are. And I think, he gets a lot of pressure wearing that 22, and sometimes that's due pressure, and sometimes it's unneeded pressure. But his play's been great. His leadership's been great for the last 3 years. And, the lacrosse landscape has changed, right? So there's more parity. And to have him on our team as one of the leaders and going into championship weekend, I mean, let's be honest, guys. He got shortchanged. He should have been a first-team All-American. Army had 4 first-team All-Americans, and they didn't even make the playoffs. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with that system, but whatever. I think it's the Syracuse bias. And as I've always said before, when Syracuse lacrosse is hated, all's well in the lacrosse world, fellas.
Rick, I've asked this question to a few people, over the course of the last week, and I want to get your thoughts as well. So we saw this team lose 3 straight games to close the regular season, and then they went to Charlotte needing to beat at least Notre Dame to feel good about their tourney chances, and they haven't lost since. They've won 4 in a row, the last 3 by a single goal. What has changed in your mind, if anything, from that 3-game losing streak to this 4-game winning streak? Is it just a case of, the ball's kind of bouncing their way right now? Is it an execution thing? Is it a preparation thing? What has changed in your mind, if anything?
I think the swagger, believing in themselves. I think players have stepped up. I think the hustle it goes without saying. The one big thing that these guys really do well is they get shots on goal. That's the intangible. I always talk with you guys about the intangibles, and defensively, obviously they gave up a bunch of goals, but they put the ball in the cage, and in the ACCs they won faceoffs, and against Harvard, they won faceoffs, and I just think that they're doing all the right things. Steve, they tell you when you have a great player is a player that does a lot of the things good. They do a lot of things good. They don't do a lot of things great. Syracuse right now does a lot of things really good. And Coach Simmons used to always tell us, and I know I can only revert back to when I played, which was, again, long time ago, 30 years ago, we won a national championship on this weekend with a bunch of my buddies and Coach Simmons and crew for our alma mater. But we peaked at the last game of the season, and that's what you have to be. You have to be ascending until that last game, and then that last whistle ends, and we're good. I got dogs fighting next to me. Sorry, they're getting ornery because they know they're ready to watch the game, fellas. They want to watch the game.
Rick, you talk about your experience. You've played in a few of these, right? Can you take us back to your first Final Four? Because for these guys, this is their first Final Four. Can you talk about the emotions? And I guess if you've never experienced it, what was that first one like for you? What are these guys going through this weekend?
Do you really want my first Final Four story? I mean, do you want the truth, or do you want me to fib through it?
No, you always give us the truth.
Well, the night before the final, the national championship, couldn't sleep. We were staying in Philly, and the bar was open. Went down, hung out at the bar for a little bit just to take the edge off a little bit, and then But my feelings going into that game was amazing. I mean, it was 120 degrees for the Hopkins game. Hopkins wore all black. It was a 18 game. And then to watch Carolina play Princeton in the next game at Franklin Field, I mean, it was, hey guys, you play on big stages, and it's the thing you dream of. I mean, I can go back to the emotions of when we lost. Right, we lost to Princeton. I watched Andy Moe come down and bury that goal right by Chris's ear, Saran's ear, and I was on that back pipe. I was trying to run the ball out of bounds as well. I figured he'd miss, and we'd be playing in overtime. I mean, just the elations of the emotions of that. That's what I remember. I mean, listen, let's be honest. It's incredible to play in a Final Four. It's an honor to play in a national championship. So, for me, I mean, I don't know. I guess I expected it, but it was an overwhelmingly fun weekend with my teammates, with my family. It was the first time my father saw I had a tattoo on my thigh. I hid it from him for the entire season. There was a lot of things that we did. I mean, and by the way, we spotted Princeton, 6 goals, I think it was, in the first half. And it's tough to win national championships that way. I always ask people, like, yeah, you have 2 national championships. I think I should have 4. Do you want to know the truth? We had the team, we had the firepower, and we had the matchups the way we needed to. But hey, man, sometimes guys come out and beat you. And those Princeton guys in '92, they will say the opposite. Oh, we had Syracuse right where we want them, and blah 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 blah, and that's fine, right? It's all good. But the biggest thing I take out of all this, fellas, is that we flew high with confidence every time we were in a Final Four. We weren't expecting to lose. We were expecting to walk home with gold.
All right, so let's talk about this matchup for this current squad tomorrow. And it's a Maryland team that has given them fits over the years. The Terps have won 7 straight against the Orange, including one earlier this year. What is it about this team that seems to give Syracuse so much trouble? We know about their methodical style of play. Is this a poor matchup for Syracuse, Rick, going into tomorrow?
I mean, it's definitely, I would take Penn State over Cornell or Maryland on this one, and nothing against Jeff Tambroni, who's a West Jenny alum and a Hobart alum, the head coach at Penn State. The one thing that John Tillman does really well is he prepares well. He doesn't want to get into a track meet. You'll see tomorrow that, Maryland are like counter punchers, right? They want to, if they get a shot save on the Syracuse end, they're going to ride deep probably and let Syracuse beat them in a slow down game. They want a 9-8 game, fellas. So, that's the problem with the matchup. I think defensively they match up real well. They have a great goalie in Logan McEnany. If it's a track meet, Syracuse wins by a lot. If it's a slow down game, it's a 1 or 2 goal game either way. But I'll give you my predictions at the end because Paulie will make me do that.
Well, that's kind of where we're going next here, Rick. So who do you think wins this game and why?
I think Syracuse wins the game. And I'm going to be a homer here because I want to be, because obviously living in Connecticut, coaching here at Darien right now for the season, I want to get to Foxborough on Monday with us winning. I think and all these Maryland guys will kill me and people will kill me on the internet, whatever. I'm going to go with my orange. I'm going to go with the same score, but it was just the other way. I'm going to go 9-8 Syracuse.
Wow, so they win a low-scoring game. Interesting.
Yep.
Okay, and then what about, I assume you have Cornell in the other one. What do you think happens on Monday?
I'll tell you right now, that is a very intriguing game, Steve, and it's not because Cornell is not good. Cornell is extremely good. But Penn State does a lot of really good things on defense, and they play a zone. And if Cornell can't pick apart that zone, they really do a great job of going in and out of a zone. Penn State does, and Penn State's got big, strong athletes, and obviously Cornell does too. And guys, on this show, we don't talk a lot about the Big Red, who are an hour down south from where you guys are right now. They are very good. CJ Kirst is the player of the year. I think it's Cornell by 2. I think it's a 12-10 game. I think Penn State makes it tight. I think Cornell pulls away right off the bat and maybe probably gets a 5-goal, 6-goal lead. And then, they just kind of keep chunking away at it. But I think it's going to be an all upstate New York national championship, which is crazy. We have not had that in such a long time. And, again, like I said, the Cornell guys, they get forgotten being down in that little tiny city of Ithaca, but there's a lot of, you have 2 guys on that Cornell team local, right? Lacombe and Gil Martin. They both are players on the team. They do a great job. I know Bobby Gil Martin, hearing me talk about his kid's name, his ego got bigger. They're on the west side, but,
Don't forget about Ryan Sheehan.
Oh, you got Sheehan's kid? Oh, Danny. Yeah. So, Danny's going to call me. Ricky, what are you doing? No. I love Coach. That's awesome. Hey, listen. Again, it's great for lacrosse to have those 2 guys back in it. They travel real well. There's Cornell alums all over the country, Syracuse all over the country, and especially in the Northeast. Heck, I'm here in Darien where there's 50,000 Cornell guys and one Syracuse guy, by the way, but whatever. I think it'll be a great game, and I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to predict it, but I'm going to go with my heart with Syracuse, and that'll be like an 11-10 game in the national championship.
And it'll be a rematch, if that happens, of the 2009 title game, which still is probably the best game that I witnessed in person, with Syracuse coming back, tying it.
I know that was crazy, wasn't it, Steve? Like
it
crazy.
Really
at halftime, I was watching it with Tori, and we were just, it was when the girls were, I think Viviana or Angela were little, and we were just like, oh, this is over. And then all of a sudden started chipping away. And guess what it was? It was the intangibles, the rides, the clears, the shots on goal. So it's going to be a great game nonetheless. And Paulie, you look sharp in that collared shirt, buddy.
Thank you. I wore it just for you.
Rick, we're gonna get to your lunch choice here in a second, but I have one other question. I wanted to ask you about the opening on the women's side of things. We're hearing a lot of
I've heard a lot
names.
I've heard a lot. I know a lot.
Yeah. So in terms of the opening itself,
yes.
Rick, who do you think would be a good fit? As they look for the next leader of that program.
Well, as far as I hate to say it, obviously he's the coach of my own child at Angela at Stony Brook. I think Joe would be the lead dog in the fight here, simply because Caitlin DeFelice. State. Caitlin DeFelice, the defensive coordinator, was on his staff at Stony Brook, came up here. There'll be a seamless transition there. Joe is a high-level guy. He's an in-your-face guy. So the girls will get a very different look than they would, I think, obviously down the street in Albany. Katie Rowan, who's a former alum, I know that's who probably the alums are pulling for based on the conversations that I've had. And she has another scenario too with Merrick Thompson as her husband, who's the offensive coordinator and a Canadian World Team assistant coach. So there's a lot of things that could go on there. I think Erica LeGros, who is Erica Banford from Skinny Atlas, would be a candidate as well. The LeGros family is entrenched in Syracuse lore, and she's a Hall of Famer at CBA and in upstate here. And then the wild cards of the crew, but you know what? I don't know if they're wild cards. The head coach at Stanford, if she chooses to interview Pat McCabe, who's at Adelphi playing in a national championship right now, he could be one. But yet we could be way off. Right? I mean, could be way off. I can say this. I've always liked Kayla Trainer. She's always been great to my family. I wish her nothing but the best of luck. And I have wished her the best of luck via text when she took the job. And, whoever gets this opening, they got to do it quick and they have to do it right, because the little thing called the transfer portal is not going to be fun for anybody.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Paulie, go ahead.
All right, Rick, what you have for lunch?
Paulie, it's a sad day in the Braymeyer rental, of which I'm Coach Braymeyer's roommate here in Darien. I'm not going to lie to you, man. It was just a bag of rice with some butter. How sad's that?
That sounds like a Stephen Fani.
That sounds like something I would eat.
That's true.
Did you put salt on it?
No, I didn't even put salt on it. It was pretty good. It was one of those 90-second in a bag. I knew I had to be on with you guys. I couldn't go out to get a sandwich. We got a grill, and then the gas went out. I would have been cooking some nice chicken for myself. We have a playoff game ourselves against Greenwich tonight, first round of the counties. So, just trying to stretch it out and work and try to sling tank tops for a living, guys. That's how it works.
I am going to say I don't even need to go back and look at the guesses. A bag of rice.
It's not on that. No, it's not. And listen, if you really want to know the truth, people do text me and try to cheat and ask me prior what I had. So some of those guys on that text are cheaters. And I don't reveal because I know that it's a sacred thing, Paulie, between you and, these guys. So I promise that next week when we're talking about who won a national championship, that I won't eat a bag of rice. I will eat something good, and it will be exciting for all of us.
If they win a natty, get yourself a nice fillet.
I don't need that. I can go get ribeyes, brother. Bone-in ribeyes. They cut it off the bone for me. I make them slice it, and then I get a shrimp cocktail. That's my go-to.
Well, get the whole seafood tray or whatever the tower.
You mean the seafood tower? Yeah, sure. They got some great steakhouses. Listen, the food down here, as you know, Paulie, is unbelievable, and that's the one thing I am going to miss here as well.
All right, Rick, good luck in your playoff game tonight. Hopefully we'll see you Monday in Foxborough.
Yes, boys. Good luck and go Orange. Thanks again, fellas.
All right, Rick Beardsley joining us here on the show. And with that, we'll hit our final timeout.
All right, we're going to take a timeout, Steve. Yes. And this next segment is usually a screw-around segment where we just goof to kill time. I am...
You're heated about something.
Yes, I'm seething.
Yeah.
I'm seething mad.
I know what you're upset about, and I don't blame you.
Can you tell?
Yeah.
I have come up with one of the greatest ideas in the history of radio, and somebody has plagiarized it.
Yeah.
With no shame.
No credit, nothing.
Yeah, like nobody else is doing this, and you're going to do it and then think I'm not going to catch you?
We'll tell you about it next on ESPN Radio.